everybody. Welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I'm Robert Scarpinito, your features editor.
Andrew Otten, editor-in-chief.
Rutledge Doggett, site founder.
Andrew Stretch, acquisitions editor.
Yeah, because we have our weekly acquisition roundup, because that's just been a thing that's been happening for the past 4 weeks. We're also going to talk about Rogue Tower later in this episode, and also a bit of Dying Light 2. But first, let's get into the news. Sony now owns the studio that was formerly known as the Halo creators, Bungie. Bungie. Bungie ropes, right?
What a childish way to pronounce that, Rutledge. I don't understand. It's Bungie. We all know that.
Right. It's all Bungie. So Sony owns Halo. Microsoft owns Crash Bandicoot. The world is upside down.
No, because Sony owns the company that Sony owns the developer formerly known as Halo.
They used to be known as just Halo. That was their name. Yeah. I don't know. It's a funny turn of events.
Just an absolute wild run of acquisitions. And like any big acquisition, this has probably been in works for months at this point. I've just got to feel like the Sony PR team and you know, everyone C-level in Sony that's about to be like, yeah, we're gonna blow everyone out of the water. We're gonna buy Bungie for $5 billion. No one's gonna see this coming. It's gonna be huge news. And then they get the Take-Two acquisition and then the Microsoft acquisition weeks beforehand. That absolutely blew the wind out of the sails.
Yeah, because I mean, if we didn't get the Microsoft acquisition, I feel like this would feel like much bigger news. I mean, it still is big news, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, There's just something about it that's like, yeah, but it's not $69 billion, is it?
What's crazy to me is that Bungie's worth that much. Worth and value is a very weird concept. Like that doesn't mean anything really. It's what Sony was willing to pay. But I'm just surprised it was that much, because that's a lot. I wouldn't have guessed Destiny 2 was that at all. Was worth,
3.6 billion, right?
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me that like Bungie did Halo and then stepped away from Halo, got bought by Activision, left Activision. Now they're at Sony. And I mean, I'd love to see them do like Killzone. So
them getting put on a Killzone would be great.
Destiny, right?
I mean, maybe this will give them the resources to do Destiny and something else. So that's not their entire focus anymore.
Yeah,
they've had multiple teams working on Destiny for a while. I know that definitely in like the overlap period between 1 and 2, they had their kind of live service team working on all of like the DLC and the packages and the additions that a lot of people would say is what made Destiny really good compared to its original launch. That then when Destiny 2 came out and it was in kind of a half ramshackled spot, you know, it definitely seems like it's gotten there, or is at least getting there. But if they have the ability to have people working on like the live service aspect of Destiny 2, and we're like less than a month or just a month away from their next big expansion as well.
The Witch Queen.
Yeah, still telling the same story of Oryx and the three kiddos. Savathun. I've forgotten the other two's names.
Yeah, you know more than me. So
You're making this up as far as I'm concerned.
I was the person who played Destiny at launch and thought, it's okay. Story I didn't really care about. And then I got deep into the lore cards that you'd have to pull up on a separate website. And just like into the deep lore of the Vault of Glass and the first expedition and the origins of the light and everything. And fantastic story. Really, really, you know, Bungie does world building right. Whether they deliver that is another thing. But it would be cool to see them continue with, you know, their own baby, Destiny 2, while also kind of, I guess, stretching their legs, getting out and doing more.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like it, to me, kind of makes sense that Destiny is worth this much, or, you know, at least that Sony paid this much for it, because I feel like Destiny 2 it's not exactly the same story as Final Fantasy 14, but it has that same energy of like, came out, it was fine, whatever, right? But after years and years of them building on Destiny, I feel like the public reception for it now is way better than it was 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So this for Sony now is going to be a continuous like inflow of money, as long as that Destiny 2 doesn't implode or anything. Like, you have the diehard fans, right, who still play Destiny weekly, or like, just are huge fans of it. Then you have the people who would come back every expansion, and I'm willing to bet that there are probably new people who are going to jump in on like Witch Queen, like never played Destiny before, but they're like, what's this all about? Let's find out, right? It's
an interesting one, because I don't think Sony doesn't have any like first party stuff that's like this games as a service-y kind of game, do they? Like, this would be the first one, because all their big tentpole stuff is a single player narrative driven thingy.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
They've really shifted to making those, we only make blockbusters.
Yeah.
Which at times has kind of shot them in the foot. I think it's a little bit odd to see such a quick turnaround between Bungie celebrating their independence away from Activision and that publishing deal, to then immediately turn around. I mean, I have absolutely zero clue how the internals and finances of a big budget, AAA studio go. But I wonder whether they were having a little bit more difficulty being just on their own than they expected to have.
It could be that, or it could simply be, hey, we'll give you billions of dollars for this thing. And they're like, oh, okay. Like,
we don't need to worry for years?
Yeah.
Sure.
You're set forever, basically. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's what I'm wondering. Is it more like, who wanted the deal to happen more? Like, was this Sony overpaying, or Bungie like willing to take anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it felt like they weren't really in a bad spot. They were doing really well. Like you're saying, like the reputation's changed some. It's pretty popular. Like, player count's pretty good, and it's like, so what's I don't know. It feels weird that they don't really need the money of Sony or the hierarchy of Sony to get them what they needed.
Right.
And then at this point, Dying Light 2 is free to play on all platforms.
Dying Light 2 is free to play. It came out.
Last Friday. Dying Light 2. Sorry, Destiny 2.
Wow.
Destiny 2 is.
I was like, dang, dude, it's been not even 48 hours.
Yeah, they made everything back and they just said, hey, yeah, go. But no, Destiny 2 has been free to play for like almost a year now at this point as well. And I think in Bungie's statement, they seem to quite heavily allude to continuing to support all platforms. Yeah. Now, I think Destiny has, since day one, always had year-long content that is locked to PlayStation's platform. So I have a feeling we'll probably see that get a little bit more heavy-handed. A new expansion will come out, and it will be not just like one armor, one weapon, and one strike, as PlayStation exclusive, but maybe like a portion of the map is only available on PlayStation for a year. And in a live service game with cross-play enabled, I can see that being a huge driver to get people over to the PlayStation platform.
Yeah, just really leaving that Stadia version behind, huh?
What version? That Google Stream version?
Well, one thing to call out too, in Sony's earnings call, they also mentioned that they have plans to launch 10 live service games by 2026. So they have none from that none are to first party to 10 over the next 3-4 years is.
Oh no, that's what Ragnarok's going to be.
That's a big commitment to make, and also if it pays off, could be very, very big for Sony. So having Bungie kind of at the forefront of that, especially with another major IP in the works by Bungie, is that could be very interesting and be a huge boon to Sony's platform.
I wonder if they might end up like almost competing with themselves. Like, in terms of your weekly activities you complete, You've just got to like boot up and hop from PlayStation game to PlayStation game to make sure that you get your weekly content fulfilled. And then by the time you've
a Sony exec just, you know what I mean?
Nutted.
Yeah. Just that description was just too much.
And just by the time you're done playing through your weekly tasks on all 10 games, you look at a clock and it's like, oh, it's Monday morning again. Got to roll back in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Remind me too. Didn't Jim Ryan? Didn't he say that this isn't the last of the acquisitions? Like, expect
he said
more.
that there's more stuff coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So who knows how many more studios that
Sony's threatening more. Microsoft is threatening more. Insiders are saying that they're like hearing bubblings of this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. So
it'd be interesting to see what the first like big Japanese company to fall is, because there hasn't really been one yet.
From Software.
I mean, that's
everybody keeps talking about Capcom, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think we've seen the landscape shift over the last couple of years towards live service more and more. But the only ones that survive are the ones that execute well. Destiny, Genshin,
Anthem.
Anthem.
You almost got him. He was going to list it.
I almost said it too. It seems to be kind of the direction the industry's heading. While I don't think we're going to see, single player games take a huge decline, I think the money potential that comes with a live service game that is successful is huge.
Yeah, and that's probably why Sony's going to have 10 coming out in the next several years, because they're just throwing darts at a board and hoping one sticks.
Yeah, I mean, one or two could pay for the rest.
Yeah,
look at Genshin and the money that it's generated for the last year.
Yeah, but they use cheat codes on that, man. They're like using waifus and stuff. Like, that's just like not fair.
Hey, you saying Sony can't make waifus? I bet you they could.
They can, but it's just like,
I mean, they turned Aloy into a waifu.
Yeah,
right.
the gamer bros really love her.
Well, Aloy is a waifu in Genshin Impact now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was available for a short amount of time on PlayStation exclusive, but now she's just available on all platforms. You just get a free 5-star Aloy character and her bow, but her signature weapons only have their special ability if you're playing on PlayStation.
What fucking bullshit is that?
How weird is that?
Dumb.
So, like, I can pull it up on my Android phone and, it will load in Aloy, but she won't have any special ability, like, on her weapon.
That's shitty, but it's also like, damn, Sony, like, that's pretty, like...
Well played.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
Sony's been pretty good about, like, knowing where to dig the knife for that exclusive content.
Yeah,
like Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man and Avengers.
Oh, yeah, the PlayStation Advantage.
Yes.
Didn't Spider-Man only release, like, last month?
Mm-hmm, and it's
we were talking about successful games of service games. It's weird we didn't mention Avengers.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest one.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah, I feel like with the Sony, like with where Sony is now, like if you look at their stable of games, like obviously they have a lot of those big first single player adventure story
big
driven
blockbuster hits.
Yeah, those sort of things. But not much else, right? And I feel like Bungie is going to fill that shooter void that they have, because without Killzone, without Resistance, Sony has Call of Duty, but that's soon to be Microsoft, right?
Not now.
Yeah.
Battlefield,
so who knows?
But the latest Battlefield tanked as well.
No, that one's good. EA liked it. Remember, they said it wasn't a piece of shit, right?
I know what the Steam numbers are saying, though.
A whole nother discussion.
Yeah. So I see Bungie as like, okay, they're filling that niche, right? So is Sony trying to go for like, we want a developer for all sorts of niches, which is making me think Guilty Gear was a PlayStation and PC exclusive. To this day, Strive is not on Xbox still. So I'm curious if Arc System Works is maybe,
That'd be fucking
on the
wild.
dartboard. Yeah.
Would like, because that's been one of the big questions that I've had in my mind with the Capcom rumors, is that Capcom does so much with Nintendo. Like, is PlayStation willing to play ball there? Otherwise, I think that that makes Capcom seem less likely to me.
Yeah.
I think they are. If they're willing to play ball with Destiny, I think they'd be willing to play ball with Capcom being on Nintendo. Because like Destiny 2 is not gonna be removed from Xbox or PC. Like it's gonna continue to be on those platforms.
On the topic of Capcom, Mega Man Legends 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, honey,
was that it?
Yeah.
That all?
I'm still sad.
I think when people think Capcom, I mean, it's all Resident Evil stuff people are talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Resident Evil, maybe Street Fighter 6 if that's happening.
Oh yeah, Street Fighter also
I'm
shifted
sure
to
will.
PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty nuts if that'd be an interesting play if Sony's gonna be like, all right, we're gonna try to corner the fighting game market in some fashion. Because
With
like, if
Guilty
they work
Gear
to get
and Street Fighter.
Oh yeah,
That would be
just to get Arc
huge.
System Works as a developer, like they're a top tier fighting game dev.
Yes.
Like,
It would be especially huge considering the fact that they don't have 2 USB ports on the front of their console.
Well,
Yeah.
because if I remember right, at least up through the PS4 generation, like the PS4 was the Evo machine. Like
Yeah.
every Evo used PlayStation. So
be
they're pretty
interesting
tight.
if they could,
Well,
because I mean that's
they
a very
own
rabid fan
Evo
base.
too, don't they?
Yeah, you're right. They do.
Oh, that's
so maybe,
true.
yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. So yeah, maybe they're going
this
for the
is a
fighting game thing.
That would be
Yeah.
interesting because like fighting games are one of the kind of live in the shadows. Like if you don't pay attention to them, you will just not know they exist. It's very easy to not pay attention to
They
them.
might be taking like the same approach as your local ISP in the United States, and like Xbox is gonna pull all of the shooter esport under it, and then Sony's gonna pull all of the FGC in.
Yeah, because Microsoft's going to own MLG, right? And then PlayStation owns Evo. So,
Yeah.
Oh boy,
and that leaves Valve with what? Dota.
they got the international.
Yeah, they've got like MOBAs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's still not the most popular MOBA, but
Right. Oh, and they have Artifact too. You guys remember that?
I interviewed for that. I interviewed Richard Garfield.
And
was
at
great about the
some
interview?
point, we'll get Overwatch 2.
What was
who
great
knows
about
when that is.
Supposedly.
What was great about that Richard Garfield interview?
Well, nothing really. But
Oh, okay.
the cool thing was I sat next to Ben Brode when I was playing it. If
Mm.
people know who he is, maybe the original lead dev on Hearthstone. And so we were talking about
Nice.
Hearthstone while we were playing Artifacts. And then I went and interviewed Richard Garfield, and I was into this humongous, massive, loud, can't hear anything that he's saying fan. And I had a recorder out, and when I listened to the recording, it was just worthless. And I talked to him for like 20-something minutes.
Nice. Speaking of worthless, Star Citizen. The Star Citizen is a thing.
I think you'll find it's
Damn,
worth
that was
millions of
cold.
dollars.
A+ transition.
Thank you. Star Citizen is a thing. It's probably one of
Is
the
it?
biggest scams in the world. Who's to say? It's been around for 10 years, and they recently announced this new roadmap change where they're saying, in the effort to be more transparent, we have decided to not be transparent with our roadmap anymore.
That's right. We ain't telling you
because-
shit.
Yeah, because they have found that when they say like, oh, we tentatively want to do this feature, and then the next roadmap they say we're not doing that feature anymore,
Weird.
people get upset.
You mean those people that have put in a bunch of money already to help you make this game are holding you accountable?
No, that's
Well,
ridiculous.
something?
That's ridiculous.
Right. You invest quite heavily in Sheepcoin and stuff, correct?
You know the feeling.
So as someone who has invested in worthless things before, how much are you in debt with for Star Citizenships?
None. Because I am very good at spotting a scam.
Yeah.
How do you explain
It's-
all those ships in the background on your wall? All those
Oh.
pictures.
All those sheebs.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I keep Star Citizen is something like I know of it, but I just do not pay that much attention to it because every time I hear about it, I'm just like, yeah, that looks like a massive waste of
Well,
time,
it was like
effort,
an instant
money.
no from day one.
don't know,
Especially like
everything on
post
paper-
Kickstarter.
Everything on paper and back makes it sound fucking amazing.
I mean, same
Like-
with No Man's Sky in 2016, right?
Yeah, well,
That's-
yeah, but
that is
people haven't
that is the
learned.
exact comparison I was going to bring. So my roommate in college, when this launched 10 years ago, he did get into Star Citizen. He only like bought in at the entry level, but I had the same vibe as he was excitedly explaining to me Star Citizen. I got the exact same vibe as someone excitedly explaining No Man's Sky to me. It's like, I understand that you're listing out core features, but I don't see where the game is.
Yep.
And that's always been my problem. And the fact that we're coming up to the 10-year anniversary and there's still no game. Well,
You know
there's
what?
you can walk around your hangar. I know
You can fly ships
you
around.
can do like flight time trials. I believe they put out the FPS module like 4 years ago.
Remember when they put up that Squadron 42 trailer with Mark Hamill?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Oh,
that like
yeah.
5 years ago now? I don't
Mhm.
know.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Just everything about Star Citizen always feels like there's something off here, right? Like, let me just read the first sentence of their notable changes for February 2nd, 2022, which is a weird way to say, here's our roadmap update, right? Notable changes for is such a weird way to phrase it. But just listen to this and tell me if anything sounds sus to you, okay? When we remade our public roadmap in 2020, our goal was to truly lift the veil on development and show the progress of our entire company, right down to all 50 plus development teams and each anonymized developer on each specific team. So you could see what deliverable they were working on currently and plan for the next 3 quarters for a full 12-month view on development.
I mean,
So do they not know who's working for them?
they have
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like.
50 separate development teams? Is that what that
50
said?
separate development teams, but each one's
does that mean?
anonymous.
Yeah, disjointed development like that is a terrible idea.
Sounds like they wasted a bunch of money trying to develop something that people could see. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
such
like
a
50
weird-
plus development teams, that makes sense in like in an Activision, in a Rockstar or something, right? But like,
When
And
you're
that they're
working on
all
different
working on
IPs.
different things. Yeah.
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 50
Well, I wonder if
different
they
teams
mean
working on 50 different
different
things
teams.
for
I
one
wonder if
single
they-
game.
I
is
wonder if they
nuts.
mean like, this is the art team. That's one development team. Or you know what I mean? This is the ship animation team. That's one team. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like stuff like that. If they're just, it's not really 50 teams. It's just like 50 departments.
Yeah.
Or
It might be
something.
more of that.
Which
'Cause
would
they
make
said,
sense, but like, why? What's with the anonymity?
Well,
That I don't understand.
so that you're not. Let's say I get that point. Like some feature comes out that people don't like, and they're like, this fucker made it.
right.
This
but-
guy, we're gonna harass that guy.
so yeah, I agree. I agree that it should like be anonymous or in a way, because you don't want to dox people, right? But you don't see Rockstar put out a fucking statement
it's
that's
such
like,
a weird thing.
Our anonymous developers are now working on Grand Theft Auto 6, right? They just say our developers or we're working on, right? And the way they brag about it later in this graph, they're like, we shared publicly a whopping 450 plus features across 52 teams. It's like, dude, what does 450 plus features even mean anymore? Like, that's such a meaningless number.
It's part of the grift, right? That's the whole way what they're trying to do this. That transparency you're talking about with the anonymized teams showing you exactly what they're working on. It's because they get constantly accused of you're not doing fucking anything and you're stealing people's money. Like, and this is them being overly defensive to be like, no, man, this is look exactly. We'll get you day by day, task by task. This is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's no.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where, when you think about those really big games, like the ones that have come out, like if you look at a Grand Theft Auto 5, I would believe there are 450 plus features in that game. But like when you say that, it doesn't mean the same thing as like getting it in your hands and feeling it,
It's
and
also like at what point do you define a feature?
Yeah, what does that
yeah,
mean?
Is
like
the ability for
walking
your character
forward.
Yeah. Is your ability to walk up to a park bench and sit down a feature?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Is getting a haircut a feature?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? Maybe we're just thinking about this wrong. Maybe Chris Roberts is such a visionary that he's been developing the metaverse all this time, and we just didn't know.
This is the metaverse.
That's right.
Oh, no.
Star Citizen is the metaverse.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know if I believe that one.
Yeah, I mean, they brought in $400 million since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Like, And that was as of last year. Who knows how much more has been spent over the last 12 months? Like, how do you not have a product yet, other than just making people like create new ships over and over again?
It's $1 million a feature. That's what we're looking at here.
I can't wait for it to officially release someday, because it will. There'll be something, and for it to not be good.
It'll be a 2 out of 10 on Metacritic.
Watch everybody's be like this. Watch it be amazing. Watch it be the leap forward in technology. And we're like, fuck.
Have we ever had a game that has been like, no, guys, we're working on it, just like kind of sitting and spinning in neutral for so long?
I mean,
like
Final Fantasy Forever was pretty great.
Maybe.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 Versus that eventually became 15.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah,
I forgot that's what that started as.
Yeah,
and that totally spun out as well.
Started as a lightning spin-off.
Yeah, and now
that'll be Final Fantasy 13 Versus that became 15 that became Kingdom Hearts 4.
The Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC first, and maybe as a pit stop.
That's true. Yeah. Just a quick refresh.
Yeah.
Spore was 8 years. Last Guardian was 9 years. Two Human was 9 years. Team Fortress 9. Final Fantasy 15, 10. Prey, the newer Prey, I guess, is 11 years.
I mean,
Diablo
that was because that was meant to
11.
be Prey 2 for the longest time.
Right.
Became.
The longest was Duke Nukem Forever at 15 years.
Which, when that released, everybody loved it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, Game of the Year, 10 out of 10.
I love games that in the first level you can walk into a bathroom and pick up a turd.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, because they called it Forever because they knew that's how long everyone would be playing it.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm still playing it.
Yeah, right now, to this very moment.
Yeah.
They walked out onto the E3 stage and said, put down your controllers, you don't need anything else. Here.
And if you look under your seat, there's a turd for you to pick up yourself.
Right now. Yeah. That's what Star Citizen is to me. It's a turd. Yep. If I'm being honest. Like
I enjoyed grabbing a bag of popcorn and just watching it.
I love the news for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
from a concept, it is a really cool idea. Like, if you don't even think about actual implementation, bringing it to life, any of that stuff, everything they've always listed off, if it were executed on, would be incredible. Yeah. The problem is there has been such a lack of transparency and honesty and even forward progress for the most part, where I just don't have trust that putting money into it as a gamer is worth it. I would rather, if I were going to invest, I would wait until it was out. At that point, I would put money in. But they're using these, hey, you can only buy this now, well ahead of a release. This ship won't be available later. To, in my opinion, grift. It's like buying fucking NFTs. It is really the best example I can give right now. You're buying a JPEG that's gonna quote unquote go into the game.
Not only was Star Citizen such forward thinking, they invented NFTs before we even named them, but they're also creating the metaverse. So I'm coming around to Star Citizen. They're just ahead of our time.
So how much money did Mark Zuckerberg give you?
Mark?
Yeah. To promote the metaverse?
Just a couple billion.
This here. I told you not to bring it up on the podcast.
Right. My bad.
He signed an NDA. When I look at Star Citizen, it's just this kind of huge cash grab is the energy that I get from it, right? Mm-hmm. And what I find so funny is that even if I were the kind of person who 10 years ago was super duper excited for this game, I feel like some games have come out since then in those 10 years that kind of fill the niche, the void.
We already mentioned one.
Yeah, you've got No Man's Sky, but then there's also Elite Dangerous, right? I mean, that's just like a space. That's like Euro Truck Simulator in space, basically.
And that's part of what the pitch for Star Citizen was.
Exactly. You can buy a flight stick and use that to, pilot around in space. If that's not the Star Citizen promise, I don't really know what else is.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, EVE Online.
Yeah.
You've already got this insane number of ships that you can pay an insane amount of real money for if you want to.
EVE always has, as an aside, my favorite gaming stories of all time.
Oh yeah, some of the EVE sagas are insane.
Galactic
it's
Wars.
Amazing.
Yeah, It's crazy. So
Yeah, so that's Star Citizen. If you paid money for it, I'm sorry, but
Well, if
leave
you've
your
read
flame in the comments below.
if you've read anything about Chris Roberts, so if people don't know, he's the mastermind behind it all. I genuinely think he thinks that he is that visionary and doing this and creating something amazing. He's obviously getting money out of it too, but like I genuinely think he's like, I'm gonna rock the world with this. Like the world will never be the same after this releases.
What was that? What was that interview that somebody did with Peter Molyneux where they just asked, like, "Are you an egomaniac or whatever?"
Oh, are you a liar? That was Rock Paper
That's what it
Shotgun
was.
did that.
Yeah, that's what I think
That's
of.
the very first question.
Yep.
all right. Well, let's get into games that you can play. Let's get into games we've been talking about and playing. Otten, you've been playing some Rogue Tower.
Well, yeah, Rutledge was the one to tell me about this. Maybe he should start with it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you tell us about Rogue Tower.
So it's this little game that a lot of people look like they've been playing. It's an interesting concept. It's essentially a roguelike tower defense where you start with one square, which is your tower, and then each wave you essentially procedurally generate the next square. And then
which has the path in it.
Yeah, which has the path in it, and then you basically start with a ballista tower, and then based on starting out, it's every 3 rounds you get a card that you can either adds another tower if you choose it or enhances your towers. And then it's, typical roguelike. Once you die, you've got some experience, you go and spend it on a skill tree and start all over again. And it is, I mean, I like it a lot. There's a bit of strategy to where you place your towers to where the terrain has heights, and based on the height, it gives a little bit of extra damage to the tower that you place there. There are things on the map that if you place structures next to them, you get a bonus. So like if you place next to a mana cube, a mana conduit, it increases your mana, which allows you to place more towers that use mana. Or like the mine, you can put a mine next to a gold vein, and it increases the health of your like final structure, your base, and has a percentage chance to repair it every round. So there's kind of these small things that make it interesting for me, and it's just, I mean, tower defense is always fun from a just kind of put on a show and keep playing perspective for me.
Yeah, I get that. It's kind of like a Bloons tower defense sort of thing, but then like it keeps expanding the map every couple minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, it gets insane. Like at a certain point, like you've got to scroll all the way out to see the entire map, and it just gets very, very large and keeps growing. So, and then there's rather than it being just health, there's, as you'd expect, like health, armor, shield, and then you can add bleeds, you can add poison to hit certain things a little bit harder. So there's just a lot of depth to it, and I'm enjoying my time so far.
Hell yeah. What about you, Otten? Are you enjoying your time in the Rogue Tower?
The idea of it is a fantastic one. I think mashing up tower defense and roguelikes is a really cool idea. And it's a really difficult idea, I think, to do well, because one of the things with tower defenses is that the good ones anyway, like the design of the map is important and very specifically crafted for a specific reason. So I think they have a pretty difficult design dilemma ahead of them. It's like, okay, how do we make it to where you can dynamically react to the terrain and what's coming at you in a satisfying way? I think it mostly does that. I haven't played a ton of it yet. I'm really wondering if the progression is going to be enough to keep me interested. Because the towers are all pretty. If you're a tower defense person, that's all pretty. You know it. You've played these. You've had this kind of stuff before. I guess one of my big things is that it doesn't explain a lot of mechanics to you. And I've been because I've played a bunch of tower defense. I more or less know what they're doing and how it works. But I definitely could see someone being very overwhelmed, particularly when you like go to their progression thing. It's this massive tree of stuff where you spend experience that you gain after a run, and it's humongous with all this stuff, and that's how you unlock towers, and not super well explained either, like what towers do, and until you try them out. With that said, though, it's definitely fun. You don't have any idea what's coming at you at any time, so you kind of have to be prepared for everything.
Right.
But honestly, like, is it fully released? Not early access, right? I think it's fully out.
I think it's early.
It's early access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely see some stuff. Like there's definitely some rough around the edges stuff going on with it, but it's neat. I mean, if you're a tower defense person, I think you'll like it. There's 12 of us out there, so if you guys are listening,
right, you have to find them.
We're one.
Or no, it is out. It just dropped
Okay.
patch 1.05 the other day.
Oh, there you
And
go.
it looks like they're making a lot of changes.
I hope so. It's got a potential to be a real big hit among the, because the tower defense is such there's not many out there. Like Bloons is kind of what everybody knows. It's
Well,
the
the
big
tower
popular
defense
one.
market kind of shifted to mobile as touchscreen became more of a thing, didn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think any of the
there's a
mobile
lot
tower
on
defense
mobile
games
now.
Yeah.
but it's good time. The concept mostly works together, I think. I think it's definitely hard to balance the roguelite stuff with the tower defense, which are usually pretty structured in terms of strategy.
Yeah, I mean, there's times that the map will absolutely screw you over.
Oh, you'll get. I mean, but that's any roguelike, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna have a bad luck on a run.
Yeah. So, but
But
I
part
mean,
of what gets
once you get the
frustrating-
mechanics down, it gets simpler.
Yeah.
Over
What's
time.
frustrating is that you can't speed anything up. That drives me insane.
That
You're
I will
sit-
agree with.
You're sitting there like, okay, let me just get through these early fucking levels, like, or something. Like these big guys are running along the path. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's go. Like it just takes so long.
You think they would add that, considering how many times you'd probably have to play through the beginning few?
I would consider it now with how the tower defense genre is. That is kind of a staple mechanic that should be in any tower defense. So it should come.
That I'll agree with. That is a little frustrating. Like when you're in, especially when you get like into level 30-ish, each run is 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Maybe.
well.
It takes a long time because you're so far back, and
Right.
the enemies can take so much damage that it takes forever to finish a
You
run.
can just start it up, check your emails, maybe quickly go and get a drink.
Dude, it's
come
like one of the
back.
perfect games for like you got a movie or show to catch up on. Play some Rogue Tower.
It is.
do
It really
that.
is. Like I'll have a show on one screen in Rogue Tower. I'll just be like, okay, I got my towers placed. All right, hit play on the episode again.
But I guess I'll just it scratches the tower defense itch that I always I'm always down for a new tower defense game. There's just not that many that come out.
I mean, for $14.99, it's a solid experience that you'll probably dump a good number of hours into.
Yeah. Where's
Hell
Defense Grid 3 coming out? That's what I want.
Oh, that's
Did
good
you
to know.
review the second one? Like
I did. That was
years
one
ago?
of our very first ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time we showed up on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
First time I remember being quoted on Steam.
That was one of our
Nice
early
site.
quotes for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's Rogue Tower. Rut, have you been playing anything else?
Vampire Survivors.
Nice.
lot.
Yeah,
And then
that's
Hunt
a very-
Showdown, obviously.
Yeah.
And then one I do want to talk about is Achilles Legends Untold, which is a isometric top-down Souls-like that has a preview going on right now. So just go to the Achilles page, download and play, and I've been playing for like 3 hours, and there's still more content to get through. So it's a pretty hefty preview that is very. I mean, it's a Souls-like. It's brutally hard. If you're on PC, play with a controller for sure. And the PR people, we went back and forth a little bit. I obviously they sent out a press release, and I asked if I should play or watch Troy in the background while I play it. And the response was, well, we did include Brad Pitt's signature sword stab. So I mean, that's a selling
watching
feature.
Troy in the game.
Yes,
That's right. You are Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
yeah. The
we
main
look forward to
character.
all of your cut together like quick compilations.
Yeah,
No
I mean, the
montage.
Achilles in the game reminds me a lot of the Brad Pitt from Troy. So it was there's definitely an inspiration there. But yeah, check it out, especially if you like Souls-likes. It's pretty robust and solid.
Nice. All right, that's Achilles Legends Untold. Stretch, you've been playing more Dying Light 2? Or you want to talk more about it?
Yeah, I've been destroying through, finished the game, spent...
How did you find 500 hours to do that?
Yeah, the simple answer is I did not, and I don't think that
So
I
you're
needed
not
to.
done with it.
It very much came down to, like, I can see how they could have inflated to you'll need 500 hours to play this, very much in the same way that there are 450 features in Star Citizen.
Oh
Right.
no, that's not a great comparison. Dying Light 2 is like Star Citizen.
Well, it's just like when you get into like the nitty grittiness, like even at, I got to like 60 hours play, or like 65 hours probably by now. I was almost at maxing out both of the skill trees. I had done a hard sweep through 4 out of the 13 regions to try to find as many collectibles as I could, complete quests, mark down locations, that I could, and then there's no manual saving. So if you want to see decisions done differently, technically you would need another playthrough for that. But for the most part, I really found that it was a lot more of illusion of choice rather than choice. I think I alluded to this somewhat when we spoke about this, I think 2 weeks ago on the podcast, but it would be that even in segments where you weren't aligned with a certain faction, that faction would still be the one to show up at the next important quest marker. It would just be whether, this other faction walks through the door and has something nice to say to you, or walks through the door, cusses you out, but then everything else continues.
And I mean, there's really only 3 main choices that impact the ending as well.
Yeah, as far as we could find, there was only 3. 2 of them were very obvious. One of them's kind of obscure, but even then, it's even for the people who might be really interested in finding all the endings, like the achievement or trophy hunters, there's only 1 trophy or achievement just for finishing the game. So I have a feeling that a lot of the choices in Dying Light 2 are gonna boil down to, right, I finished the game, time to find on YouTube the other endings. But it's fun, like and I said the same in my review as well, is there was a lot that was kind of overpromised with Dying Light 2, but what it boils down to is that it is competently more of the first game.
Right.
So if you were someone who was really into that first game, then have at it. New world, some new abilities. The crossbows are absolutely broken. They fire like semi-automatic, which is just unreal to watch happen.
Right. Yeah, I started playing it yesterday or Friday at the time this podcast comes out, and it's because I was interested in it more for the parkour. I was looking for basically a Mirror's Edge 3. That's just, I guess, with zombies, right? And I think the game is pretty good at that. And that's it. That's how much I like of it. It is really good, like the parkour feels nice. The story has a very just cause energy to it for me. Where
Aiden has big main character energy.
Aiden kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's like, new person walks into town, no one knows him, no one anything, but like, oh, hey, we're having real troubles. Come and meet with our leader, the very top of just everyone in this city. And you guys are best friends now because we don't have the time to properly develop you guys being friends.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're the central crux in fixing the city.
Yeah, like there's just something about the writing of the scenes and the dialogue where there's like they're going for that cheeky, almost Marvel-ish, like everyone has a funny little quip to say, but none of them quite land. So it kind of almost feels a little...
Give me an example. What's one?
Oh man, I can't even, like, they're just so not memorable to me. Like, I know Hakon, he's the first guy who like treats you nicely. Like, he's the one who helps you out when you get to the bazaar. And he's that, like, you know, classic roguish pucker kind of, you know, cheeky boy. Like, I don't know, doesn't he joke
Hakon's whole thing is like, you know, you will meet any kind of really friendly or really unsavory character, and he will in some way say, oh, that's like my third ex-wife. I would come home with dirty boots after stomping zombies, and she would flog me till the morning. Ha ha ha. And then you'd be like, oh, you know, then you'd meet a really nice person. It's like, oh, so sweet. Like my third wife, like my fourth wife, like my fifth wife. It was just like a lot of he consistently goes back to, you know, look at me, I'm a schmoozy womanizer.
Yeah, and for context too, that first time I remembered him saying the third wife thing is like, so, you know, your character gets, I mean, spoilers for the first hour, your character gets infected, right? And you turn into a zombie if you don't stay in the sunlight or UV light. So narratively, part of that is you have these like flashbacks to your childhood where you meet your sister, or well, like two times when you're spending time with your sister. And it's very traumatic, and like Aiden is like struggling, you know, he's like heaving, it's painful for him, right? So he has one of those while with Hakon, and then when Aiden comes back to reality, Hakon's like, yo, are you okay? And Aiden's like, yeah, no, and just remembering some stuff or whatever, right? And Hakon's like, you must have blocked out that memory. That's what I did with my third wife. And it's like, dude, this is not the time. Guy. I don't know, man. It did not land right.
The way you're describing him, he's my favorite character.
I mean, he is probably the best character so far, but there's just something about it that feels off.
He definitely he feels the most fleshed out of all the characters.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
At least that I've encountered. Yeah, the parkour is good. I will say that. Combat is boring as hell. There's kind of there's this fallacy of choice with the choices. It's basically, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but like there are essentially the Ubisoft towers that you can claim, and you have two options: you give them to the peacekeepers, or you give them to the survivors. The survivors, if you choose them, each thing you give them gives you a little bit more options with parkour, like zip lines or jump bags. And if you choose the peacekeepers, it's like, hey, there's like more traps on the streets. And that's pretty much the extent of it. Vendors don't really change. Craft masters don't change. There's no like, hey, you get special items. It's just like either you move around easier or you can yeet zombies faster.
Probably the biggest decision you need to make in the game. You know, I made for the peacekeepers. Then the next time that the story had me meet with like the leader of the settlers or survivors, he had a throwaway dialogue line as I was approaching him where he said, I'm not happy with the choice that you made, but you know, I respect that you made it. And then it just carries on. It's like, oh, okay, like you never feel invested in any character or taking any side because everyone's genuinely a nice person in this weird fucked up zombie world.
Very unlike The Walking Dead.
So yeah, the anti-Walking Dead apparently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess for me, I've gotten to the point where I kind of skip most of the dialogue. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not feeling this. It's just a little too, not even like campy kitschy, but it just doesn't land, you know? It just
I think it's
feels
taking
hollow.
Itself a little bit too seriously.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's too
There's
bad.
also some weird stuff in like the upgrade tree, like that you're like sprint and slide to be able to run and slide is an upgrade option, and it just feels kind of the same way that you might say that like having the speed up is such an integral part of a tower defense. To be able to just like run and slide from the get-go in an action game, it kind of feels like they were removing features for the purpose of creating upgrade opportunities.
And it's very jarring at the start of the game. Like, you are sprinting, jumping across fucking rooftops, and then like, nope, gotta stop and crouch to go underneath something. So in this game that is very fast paced at times, when you're outrunning the zombie horde or whatever, the fact that I have to essentially go from 60 to 0 just to go underneath something is it kind of takes you out of it very, very quickly. And the fact that you have to get a couple of levels up to unlock the ability to slide is just strange to me. So
yeah, overall, I think Dying Light 2 it's fine. I think the people who are looking forward to this game, it just seems
gonna love it.
It's exactly what they're looking for, right? And I think there is some kind of just kind of chill out basic fun with like, yeah, I'm just jumping across the rooftops, occasionally bash a zombie in, right? Like, it's kind of relaxing in a way for that, right? Where you just kind of zone out. But I am super not invested in the fate of Villador, or whether the peacekeepers or survivors. I don't care. I really don't.
Yeah, I went around, so I had run around the map to unlock all of it so that I could make the like baseline maps for us to put the collectibles on top of. And to me, that was fun. Like, literally just sprinting full speed, yeeting across rooftops and stuff. I had more fun doing that than probably trying to get through the main quest. Because like you said, I just don't feel invested. Like, I don't feel like I have a vested interest in either side, other than just wanting to run around and eat zombies.
Yeah, like that was the best part of Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Like, when you beat the game, you just can run around in the open world, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm here for. I just want to jump across rooftops and stuff. So
if you want to play a fun parkour game, there is it's like if you took like the arcadiness of Tony Hawk, and there is a PlayStation portable game called Free Running that it just gives you a large open world and somewhat complex controls that you need to like remember to do gainers and stuff. But that is a satisfying parkour game to play.
Ooh, okay, might be worth checking out.
Yeah, weird throwback to the PlayStation portable.
The one everyone has, of course.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. But that's Dying Light 2. You can read our review on the site now if you haven't checked it out yet, or if you've been playing it yourself. Let us know what you're thinking of the game. But I think that does it for this week's episode of the TechRaptor podcast. We hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please feel free to give us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. And if you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to leave us a comment below. Let us know what you've been playing this week in the beginning of the crazy period known as February and March of 2022, where all the games are coming out, and it's kind of nuts. And if you're listening on YouTube, feel free to subscribe as well, so you can get the episode in your feed every time we drop one on Mondays. If you need more from us, we are at TechRaptor.net, where we're always publishing news, reviews, features, and so on every day of the week. So feel free to check us out there, and we'll be back right here on this feed next week. See you then.